Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of gbcooking.com YouTube video things. Today, very excited because we're making shepherd's pie, one of my favourites as a young boy growing up on the streets of London. And it's very simple. Ingredients are very simple, easily found. As with all British foods, try to use good quality ingredients, but one thing that's very important we must discuss before we go any further is the meat. Shepherd's pie only uses lamb. It has to be lamb, nothing else. If you put beef instead, you've just made cottage pie. So if you have any trouble remembering that, just remember, what does shepherds guard? They guard sheep and lamb, don't they? Not great big cows. So shepherd's pie made with lamb, and we have 1.5 pounds of ground lamb. Now in Britain you might hear it called minced meat, minced lamb or minced beef, but here in America we call it ground, so that's what I'll use. And this I grinded myself. I bought a 3 to 4 pound leg of lamb, grinded it all up, or grounded it up, grinded it, and then I had enough for 2 shepherd's pies. I froze half of it and we've got the rest of it here. So that's the meat, very important. Then also a couple of big baking potatoes, or the equivalent weight in regular sized potatoes. And let's go quickly to the vegetables. We've got some chopped up carrots. We've got some frozen peas, which you can leave out to thaw a little bit, or just throw them in frozen. Doesn't matter too much. And we have some chopped up onion. And then for the gravy, we have some just beef stock, and we'll add that to a couple of tablespoons of flour. I think we have 3 tablespoons of flour. For the flavours, we have here some red wine. You can also put in some beer if you like, a slightly different flavour, but we're using red wine today. We've got some tomato paste, and then some Worcestershire sauce, delicious. And then for the aromatics, we've got some rosemary and thyme. I feel a song coming on. Are you going to Scarborough Fair? You don't want to hear me singing. Right, well, let's get cooking. Heat 2 tablespoons of oil in a pan and add your ground lamb. Cook for a few minutes until the lamb is nicely browned. When your lamb is nicely browned, remove it from the pan and put it in a sieve over a little bowl to drain. Careful does it, you don't want ground lamb all over your kitchen floor now, do you? After doing this, you'll find you have plenty of oil in the pan to cook your vegetables. Throw in the carrots and the onions and cook for a few minutes. Feel free to add garlic too. When your onions turn nice and translucent, it's time to add back the ground lamb into the pan, like so. Give it a little stir, and then add in your herbs. Yes, America, I said herbs with an H. None of this herbs nonsense. Here we go. A little bit more salt and pepper, never hurt anybody. It's all in the wrist, don't you know? Now it's time to add your flour. Sprinkle it over the top. And then mix it in. You might want to turn the heat down a bit. You don't want this to burn. When the flour has incorporated, it's time to add the liquids. Red wine, yes please. Tomato paste, I won't say no. Come on, you little bug, get in there. Worcestershire sauce, of course. And then finally the beef stock. Now, if you're smart enough to get yourself some lamb stock, now we're talking. Doesn't that just look lovely? Now stir it around a little bit so the gravy thickens. It won't take you long. Once your sauce has thickened and everything looks lovely, transfer the mixture to an 11x7 baking pan. Smooth out the mixture in your baking dish, and then I like to let it cool a little bit while I cook my potatoes. Feel free to add a little bit more salt and pepper. Add your potatoes to the water and boil them. Can you see how big these are? I suggest you do the same. Some people suggest adding the potatoes to cold water and allowing it all to come to the boil together. Well, other people suggest just boil the water and then add the potatoes. To be honest, I've never noticed much of a difference. Do it the way you've always done. Do keep an eye on your potatoes. You don't want to boil them too long so they get all soggy. Take them off the heat when you can easily put a fork in one. Take them off the heat, drain them, put them back in the pan with a little butter and a little milk and mash them. Now it's time to spoon the mashed potato on top of your meat mixture. Get a big old wooden spoon and a fork and just do it one dollop at a time. Do you see? Once the potato is evenly spread out, take the back of the fork, the tines, and start to draw a grid pattern. First, sideways. Then, lengthways. You can go that way, or you can go this way. It's up to you. Sometimes I like to go both ways. This has a very important function. In addition to looking splendid, when you pop it in the oven and stick it under the broiler, it's going to make it all nice and brown and crispy. There, doesn't that look splendid? Now, if you're being terribly clever and planning this in advance, you can pop the whole thing in the fridge and get it out when you're ready to prepare supper. But if you want to go ahead and cook it now, just heat up your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit and then leave it in there for about 25 to 30 minutes. Then turn on your broiler for about 10 minutes. That's the hot part at the top of the oven. That'll make it all turn nice and brown and crispy on top and super yummy. Let's fast forward now and see what this is going to look like when it's ready. Well, it's just come out of the oven and it looks scrummy. You'll notice the little ridges we formed with the fork tines have crisped up beautifully, and they're going to taste all crunchy and yummy when you bite into it. Well, let's have a look and see what we've got here, shall we? The potato is just perfect. You can look at it and see it's all crispy and brown and yummy. And inside the ground lamb and the peas and the carrots have this lovely gravy holding it all together. Let's have a little taste. Piping hot. Oh, oh, Perfect amount of salt, pepper. I'm getting all the flavors in there. I'm getting that lovely rosemary and thyme in there. And, This is fabulous. Just like Mother used to make it. Cheers. As always, you can find the full recipes on gbcooking.com. And don't forget to tell your friends. Cheerio.